just concluded the second chapter. And as we know, the second chapter is called as Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya here implies that teachings on wisdom, the chapter that focused on the wisdom. Wisdom meaning the highest wisdom of reality that the Lord gave to us. So now, when the last few shlokas of the second chapter, the Lord spoke about how a person who is purified from all desires, from all kind of worldly desires, that person is able to establish in that supreme truth. And he said that the effect, how do we know that person has abided in that truth? So he was said this person becomes nirmamo nirahankaraha, meaning that ego in him falls away. That separate sense of individuality, that falls away. That was mentioned. And as a result of that, that person goes on and he attains what is called as Brahma Nirvana. Brahma Nirvana means the one who is established in that, who is liberated in Brahman. The mukti also is of different kinds. In the Shastras, especially from a dualistic perspective, there are different kinds of muktis, like attaining oneness with the Lord, being in that same place as the Lord is. All these are different kind of muktis people talk about. But in the most common Advaita Vedanta tradition, the ultimate mukti or moksha, we say, is that oneness with the divine, oneness with the supreme Brahman. So that is that Brahma Nirvana. And what are the characteristics of the person? Vihaya kamanya yesva, yes, kaman, yes, sarvan. Pumams charati nispraha. So he is freed from all kinds of worldly attachments and desires. Meaning he is established in that supreme reality and not in what appears as this worldly objects. He is no longer interested in that. And nirmamo nirahankaraha. He is freed from the sense of me and mindness. And once that person is freed from that, he attains that peace, that supreme peace. Shanti madhigacchati. That supreme peace, or also which leads on to that supreme joy. Earlier it was mentioned, right? Ashantasya kuta sukham. The person who doesn't have that joy will also not know real happiness. He will know worldly happiness, which is temporary, which comes and goes. But this person who has attained that supreme reality, for him, it all falls away. And how does this person abide? So there, prior to that, practice of knowledge. How do you practice knowledge? Through freeing yourself from all desires, self-control. So moksha is attained through that self-control. But however, in some of the texts, there is a discussion that this person who attains realization doesn't mean his body will disintegrate. He's freed from all karma, but it doesn't mean his body is going to like immediately disintegrate and go away. He will still be appearing in this world. And this is what we say the rishis are, all the realized persons are. So it is very hard to say who is realized and who is not realized, because the person who is realized also behaves like a normal person, meaning not exactly normal. He still has a certain karma. He still goes through certain physical and actions and all that. He's still doing actions. It is not like he is retired somewhere in some cave and so he's still involved in the world. But that passions, that samskaras, and all the stress, that thing which earlier, is common to most people, that person will not have it. So that prarabdha karma is still there, through which the body will still continue. But he's freed internally from all sorrows. He doesn't have any sorrow. So, Esha Brahmi Stiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuyati. Stitva Sitvasya Antakalepi. Even at the point of death, if he realizes the supreme reality, the supreme Tat, then he attains this Brahma Nirvana Mrichati. he attains this Brahma Nirvana. Okay, huh? So this we have looked at. Now, the in general, Sankhya, the teachings of Sankhya Yoga, the second chapter, it focused on knowledge as the means to moksha. Primary emphasis was on that. However, in that also he talked about karma yoga. So karma yoga, in a way, can be taken as a different path. So now there are two paths that the Lord has talked about. One is the path of karma yoga, doing actions. And then there is the path of jnana yoga. And with the jnana, with that knowledge, you attain moksha, right? So if that is the case, why would anyone do karma yoga? So this is a normal doubt, why should I do any action at all? If jnana yoga is the path to moksha, then why should I attain do any other actions in the world? I should straight away go to that. So this is the doubt that Arjuna will now pose to Arjun, to Krishna. So you have glorified Jnana Yoga, you have glorified knowledge. That earlier also he said, dhurena bhyavaram karma. That from that knowledge, that path of knowledge is so supreme that the path of action is very far from it, meaning it still it is not close to that. And yet the Lord told Arjuna, karmanyeva adhikarasya ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma palaheturbu mate sangostva karmani. You cannot stay without action, the Lord is saying. You cannot stay inactive, you have to act, because that is your right. You have to do action. And that to what action? It is not any simple action. It is not just doing actions such as yajna, puja, as the Vedic people say, right? The action that the Lord asked him to do is to fight a battle. And that action which fight a battle is almost like killing somebody. It is harming people also, right? So this is also a big debate. If you really look at sometimes people who don't fully understand the Bhagavad Gita's teachings, and especially from other religion and other things, people generally say that, the Sanatana Dharma or Bhagavad Gita is not a proper scripture. Why? Because it is telling you to fight the war. Yeah, so we know that wars will cause deaths. It will cause problems. So why is this such a strange? How is it called a spiritual scripture? So here we have to clearly understand that Arjuna's role was like that. Arjuna was a Kshatriya. He was a warrior. The teaching was given to him from that perspective. It is not actually telling everybody should go and kill. Violence is never acceptable in any kind of a scriptural teachings. But duty, that is what, if that is what your duty is, if you are a fighting in a, if you are a army officer, then that is your duty. So it is from that context it is said, not from the context of just violence. Violence is never, in none of the Indian Shastras, violence is acceptable. But it so happens that the role of Arjuna in this context is of fighting in the battle. And it's like if an army officer, who has to work, who is sent to a thing, if he starts saying, that I will not protect my country, I will not do for my country because it has certain flaws in that. So that person, what is happening? He's becoming individual. He's breaking away from that principles, especially in righteous wars, in the righteous battles, right? Protecting nations, protecting the people. You have to do your duty there. So that is what Arjuna's role here is. So of course, when we look at Bhagavad Gita, each chapter can be appreciated by its own. So it is not necessary that always that we should understand every chapter. If we miss some classes, we can still catch up with every chapter. There isn't that kind of a thing, because it's focused not so much on what is happening in the story. It's like if you're in a movie hall, right? If you or if you're in your home only watching some movie and you go out for half an hour and come, In the movie, so much has gone, so you have to figure out what happened, what happened. Of course, here also it is important, the teachings wise, that teachings get deeper and deeper as we go. So we do have to follow like from that context. However, the teachings is teachings. It is spiritually, every shloka is meaningful for our life. So we appreciate it from that context. But sometimes we have to understand the background context of Bhagavad Gita, which is on Mahabharata. So here, that is the role. That role of Arjuna is that he is a warrior. And as a warrior, his duty is to fight. Yet it is Ghora karma, meaning it is not a normal action. Every normal action you go, if you're working in an office, it's a normal action everybody will do, right? To earn money, to earn a living. Here it's going to be a like a quite a quite a violent kind of action. Okay, so now let us look at the third chapter. We will first look at the shlokas. So all of you can try to follow whatever you have, because these are not uh, that well phased out for chanting. But anyway, we can just use this. So just it is not here, but generally when we start off, we will start with the Atha Tritiyodhyaya. So we will start like that. So those of you who can, you can repeat after me. Atha Tritiyodhyaya
अथ
अथ
तृतीयोऽध्यायः
तृतीयोऽध्यायः
अध्याय
Arjuna Uvacha
अर्जुन
अर्जुन
उवाच
उवाच
Jyayasi Chet Karmanasते
ध्यायसि
ध्यायसि
कर्मणस्ते
चेत्कर्मणस्ते
कर्मणस्ते
Mata Buddhir
मता
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 बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
Tat King Karmani Ghore Man
तत्
तत्
किं
कर्मणि
कर्मणि
घोरे
घोरे
माम्
माम्
Niyojayasi Keshava
नियोजयसि
नियोजयसि
केशव
केशव
Vyamishreneva Vakyena
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन
Buddhim Mohayasiva Me
बुद्धिं
बुद्धिं
मोहयसि
मोहयसीव मे
Tadekam Vada Nischitya
तदेकं
तदेकं
वद
वद
वदनिश्य
निश्चित्य
Yena Shreyohamapnuyam.
येन
येन
श्रेयो
श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्
One more shloka. Shri Bhagavanuvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Lokesmin dvividha nishta
लोकेऽस्मिन्
लोकेऽस्मिन्
विविधा
विधा
निष्ठा
निष्ठा
Pura prokta maya nagha
पुरा
पुरा
प्रोक्ता
प्रोक्ता
मया
मया
नघ
नघ
Jnana yogena sankyanam
ज्ञानयोगेन
ज्ञानयोगेन
संख्यानाम्
साङ्ख्यानाम्
Karma yogena yoginam.
कर्मयोगेन
कर्मयोगेन
योगिनाम्
Okay, look at these three first. So the teachings here begins where the Lord is saying, um, Jayasi chet karmanaste matha buddhir janardana. So Janardana, that's a name for the Lord. So Arjuna now is asking the question. So before that, I just wanted to mention. So here, this chapter, briefly I will mention this. The first few shlokas, up to about, if anybody wants to take note, if for future also it will help. So the first slash, you can say seven shlokas. They are about why we should act, meaning why inaction? Meaning not acting, not doing your swadharma. Why one should not do swadharma, meaning like why one should act, in other words. Then from about 8 to about 20 shloka, it is going to talk about how karma yoga, the benefits of karma yoga. So this chapter is going to be focusing more on karma yoga. So the name of this chapter is also called as karma yoga. So third chapter is called as Karma Yoga. So he's going to talk about the benefits and how action is a form of yajna or worship. That is also going to come. Then from about 21 to 29, he's going to talk about the responsibility of a jnani or a wiser person. That how he should behave with somebody who may not have that full knowledge, meaning he should not immediately tell that person, leave everything, do this. So that is also the responsibility. And how is that person different from an agnani? Then 30 to 35, the consequence of, meaning the benefits and consequence of following and ignoring one's swadharma or karma yoga. Then Arjuna again will have one more question, which is more related to vasanas, meaning one's samskaras, one's patterns, kleshas, and how that clouds the jnana. And Lord also will say what are the cause for that and how to weaken that. So those will come in this thing. So now the first few shlokas, of course, after the question, will focus on the aspect of the karma yoga and why one should do karma yoga. But the question now, Arjuna's question. Arjuna has been listening so far, and what was the first question that Arjuna had asked since the teaching had begun? Anybody remember? Until so far, what was the first question he had asked?
To show the path of Dharma. You mean the first chapter or for this chapter?
No, no, yeah. And once the teaching began in the second chapter, what was the question Arjuna had
Sthita
asked?
Prajna. How
Ah,
does one speak, sit,
yeah, yes,
walk?
yes. What else was there?
How does he speak? How does he walk? How does he sit?
Yeah, one more was there.
The realization
The
of
first part.
the description of the
Ah,
realized sage.
So the description,
Realized
Sita,
saint.
yes, Kabasha, what is his state? Inner state was mentioned. So that Sthita Prajna, is he a karma yogi or a jnana yogi? Meaning, is he a person who is doing karma yoga, or is he a person who is a jnani? Huh?
Jnani.
So why is he jnani?
Jnani.
What are the points? What makes him a jnani?
Because his wisdom is firmly established in truth.
Prajna. See that word prajna. So that denotes that Sita Prajna is not just a person who is doing action, meaning he has gone beyond action. He has become a jnani. So now this was extolled by the Lord, right? A person who is a jnani was extolled by the Lord. So now the law Arjuna's question is related to said. And the Lord had mentioned there are two paths in there. So, but of that, the jnani was extolled by the Lord. So he said, you have said that this jnani or the person who has attained that buddhir, uh, um, a person who is established in that prajna, that jnana, is a superior person. That is a superior path than the path of action. Tat kim karmani gore mam. Why are you asking me then to do action? Niyojayasi Keshava. So you are asking me to do action, but the path of knowledge or the person who has attained knowledge has been extolled by you why is it that there is this incongruency or this inconsistency in what you are teaching and what you're asking me to do? So this is a thing. So we also know from many of the, for example, those of us who have some understanding of Upanishad, this is what Upanishad tells us, right? It says that Uttishtata Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodhata. Arise, awake, and go to that teacher. Find out that teacher who will give you that supreme knowledge. So that is what the Upanishad tells us. And also Mundaka, we heard that Parikshalokan Karmachidan Brahmana Nirvedamana Nasti Krite Kritena Tadvignyatam Gurumeva Bikachet. So go to that guru, you have examined the world, and you know through all examinations of the world, any action, any results you get through action. Let's see, how do we get worldly results? Every worldly result is based on action. See, if you want to have a house, how do you get a house? You need to have somebody build that house. If you say, let's say, I don't know how to build the house, then you should have money to build that house. How do you get that money? You should have earned that money. Ideally, that is how, of course, people can get other ways, but sooner or later, you have to do something to obtain that money. And eventually, action will result in result. Whatever, when we say fruits of action, right? Everything you get in the world, even if somebody is become a prime minister or a president, so he has done a lot of action. He has attained that through his actions. Or if you have if you are staying with your family, you have family members and you have children. So in order to be with the family, you have to do some actions, right? You have to take care of something, some role is there. So every result in the world is based on action. This is the ultimate kind of reality. However, when we look at normal kind of teachings of Upanishad, it says that you have to give up action for knowledge. Knowledge is not based on action. Like if you have to attain that supreme realization, it is like we say Jnanendriya. Jnanendriya means eyes, ears, nose. These are the knowledge senses. So this knowledge senses, they are differentiated by action senses, motor senses. For example, my hands has this capacity to reach out, right? But eyes as such is not kind of necessarily going out somewhere. It is just doing that act of seeing, and it gains knowledge. Like if I see some pen somewhere, right? So although I may say that I am looking at the pen, but generally what is happening, this pen is in my if it comes in front of me, my eyes will see it and it will realize it is a pen. So this is knowledge happening. So here there isn't action. I mean, if you take it more literally, there is no function of so much going on. Of course, from a more detailed analysis, we can say, yeah, I'm seeing the eyes are acting and all that. But generally, knowledge is a occurrence. It is not something that we are acting to get that knowledge, but that knowledge by itself is independent of action. So this is how it is generally explained. So now the point here is knowledge is generally the culmination of all thing. Why? Because we are trying to break ourselves from ignorance. And so how do you break yourselves from ignorance? Through knowledge. And knowledge by itself is not dependent on action for the knowledge to happen. In order to seek that knowledge, you may have to act. Like as it is said in that Prapyavaran Nibodhata, rise awake and go to that teacher. So you have to go to that teacher, or maybe even do seva or something. But that actual knowledge is itself independent. It is not dependent on that action happening. So, from this context, that Arjuna's question is very legitimate. Why should I act? Why are you asking me to do this action if knowledge is the path that I've been asked to do? So then he continues. He says, vyame shrenena vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam pada nischitya yena shreyohamapnuyam. You are giving two messages. One is you are saying the path of knowledge is important, and you are saying you are asking me to act. So this is conflicting. This is confusing me. You are not clear. Like sometimes students say, right? Swamiji, I'm not clear. You're telling this and you're telling that. What? Be decisive. Be clear. Give me one action. So this is how many times we all also kind of feel. And it was also mentioned in the second chapter. The Shruti is sometimes confusing. It can tell one thing one time. It can tell another thing another time. So actually, the Shruti is not necessarily telling. It is giving a path for different people with different qualifications in different states of mind to do different actions. Just like how if you go to some doctor, a doctor will not give the same medicine to everybody, right? He may have set of medicines, but he will prescribe different medicines. So generally, the guru also is like that. The one guru will say one thing, the other guru may say that same guru for one student may say one thing, for another student he or she may say another thing. So this is the general methodology. Even if you are a teacher or you're a counselor, you know that it is not like a one thing for everybody. But yet the scriptures are where everything is laid down. So when we study the scriptures, we may have to either seek out guidance, or we may have to understand clearly and understand what is it that is most important for me. And Gita is a text for everyone. So Gita is a more common text. So here Gita's path is that everybody should go through some degree of karma yoga for the sake of purification. So when Arjuna is saying, tell me certainly which one of these two paths is Shreya. Shreya means which of these paths is better for me? Which of these paths will lead me to the higher good? That is what Arjuna is asking. Like Shreyas and Prayas, we have heard this before. Prayas is that path of pleasure. I feel good, I feel happy about doing this, and I will do this. So even once we come to the spiritual path, many times it's like that, right? Like students will feel that oh, I think I've read enough, I've heard enough, I don't need to consult the scriptures or the guru and other things, because I know what to do. So generally in the spiritual paths, we also go back to our kind of a sense of pride. We feel like, okay, I know what to do. I don't need to ask, I don't need to be with the guru or see the guru, because I know what is good for me. So this is not Shreyas. This is not the path of Shreyas. That when we think like that, Shreyas is that when, like how Arjuna is asking, as he says, tell me which is the higher path. What is right? I don't understand. Before also, when he took Krishna as his guru, he said that, Shishyasteham shadi mam tam prapannam. I am your disciple. Tell me what is good for me. I am not able to see what is Shreyas. So again, he uses that same word here. Tell me what is which of these two paths is the better path. So here we have to understand. So just briefly, I will mention, we have discussed this before. There are the two paths, the paths of pravritti marga and the path of nivritti marga. So we have discussed this before. What is the path of nivritti marga? Anybody remembers? Nivritti. What does nivritti mean by itself? Anybody?
Detached life. Vairagya.
Not exactly Vairagya in the Nasya, but what is when we say pravritti marga or nivritti marga, meaning it is a path of something. What is it, the path of?
Nivritti marga is the path of subsiding the vrittis, It's a path of meditation.
Then what is pravritti marga?
I would say karma yoga, for example, is pravritti marga, with
Like,
action and with engagement.
nivritti marga is like a renunciation. Pravritti is a path of involvement, like conscious actions with the shastras and dharma. Nivritti is a renunciation, like what Ruiji was saying, dhyana yoga, mananam, all this. That's different path.
Then when we talk about pravritti marga, you said you all saying engagement and action, right? How is that different from somebody who is working in the world? They're also acting, they're also doing actions. How is that different? Is that the same?
Samsaric.
How is that different?
Samsaric. So there is a difference. Some they are totally unconscious. Samsaric marga is there. Pravritti marga, the actions are still devotional. Bhakti yoga, more spiritual. Instead of totally unknowledgeable, like samsaric is like enjoyment, boga. So there is a difference. Pravritti, they are not doing boga. It's more spiritual.
Pravritti marga is arpane, nivritti marga is samarpane.
That is also a good, very good. Yeah, Rui?
Pravritti marga is about performing duties, so performing your actions in the world. And nivritti marga is more like complete detachment and the life of a sannyasi.
Yeah, who else was there? Somebody else.
Pravritti marga is
Deepika.
being in control of raga dvesha, and nivritti marga is inaction.
Inaction is a good word. Yeah. So what did you say? Pravritti was raga dvesha, is it?
Yeah, being in control of raga dvesha and doing your
In
action.
control. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Can we say, Swamiji, that pravritti marga is more like the path of purification of the mind, the Chitta Shuddhi? And once you reach that, then you come to nivritti marga, the path of liberation, like final liberation.
That is also very good. Generally, if you take it very literally, as some marga is. Okay. Sorry, my connection is a little problem. Okay. Can you all hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So this, we have discussed now this thing. So very literally, if you take it, nivritti marga meaning a path of inactivity, meaning inactivity from the worldly life. In order to nivritti, vritti, if you say, is activity, thinking, thoughts, all this is vritti. So action, engagement with something. So the one who has withdrawn from this kind of engagement, withdrawn from active engagement in the world, in the society, in what people do. So generally we talk about vanaprastha ashrama and sannyasa ashrama in our 4 ashrama, and especially sannyasa ashrama is a complete nivritti marga. Now, nivritti marga is actually the goal of jnana yoga, meaning a person who completely withdraws from that samsara. It will come later in the 15th chapter. Asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Detach, so disassociate from this world mentally. But in the context of Bhagavad Gita, nivritti is also important here. It is not going to only talk about pravritti, it will also talk about nivritti from the mental state. So in order to even walk on the path of pravritti, there is some aspect of nivritti involved. How when you realize that, as somebody was saying, what is a normal pravritti? Normal pravritti means in action, engagement in society is how it is based on, as somebody said, raga dvesha. I'm acting what I like, what I don't like. And it is bhoga based. I'm constantly seeking some joy. And when I don't have that joy, I will run away, that dvesha. So that is a normal pravritti, worldly pravritti. When you come to the Shastra Marga, the pravritti is based on the scriptures, teachings, and the aspect of knowledge. And here is what is called as sadhana chatushtaya. Is one tries to gain sadhana chatushtaya. Sadhana chatushtaya, I think everybody should know now. It implies viveka, vairagya, then what else? Anybody first? I already said two. You'll only have to say two more.
Yat sampatti.
Tat sampatti. Then
Moksha.
mumukshutva. Very good. Viveka, discernment, vairagya, dispassion or detachment, shat sampatti, those skills, yogic skills. The 6 yogic skills, such as, like, the example of turtle withdrawing its limbs. We even know how to contain our senses, discipline our mind. We have titiksha, endurance, shraddha, faith, and all that. And then there is mumukshatva, that longing for revelation, that seeking of truth, that ultimate truth. So these are the qualifications. When one comes on the pravritti marga, one is working on these qualifications while engaging in the society. So this is a Chitta Shuddhi. The pravritti marga is the path of Chitta Shuddhi. So one of the greatest way to do Chitta Shuddhi is karma yoga. Karma yoga meaning that where you are acting without seeking results. And you're trying to dissolve the sense of I am the doer, that sense of pride, attachment towards actions, all that you're trying to dissolve. So that is the true path. Now, one more thing is that without that nivritti idea, without that jnana, see, when we talk about karma yoga, here Arjuna's question is, should I do karma yoga or should I do jnana yoga, if you want to put it simply? Or in another way, should I adopt the pravritti marga or nivritti marga? If nivritti marga is the means for moksha, why should I do pravritti marga? If jnana yoga is what I should seek in order to find fulfillment, that supreme realization and joy, then why should I do karma? So this is the question. So in reality, there is a connection between pravritti marga, nivritti marga, and jnana yoga, karma yoga, because it is knowledge that empowers us to truly act properly. When we don't have knowledge, we act based on our desires and passions. When there is pure knowledge, our actions starts getting purified. So this is the Bhagavad Gita way. In other Upanishads, there is a proper distinction of karma kanda and jnana kanda in the other Vedas and all that. But here, Bhagavad Gita is trying to help us appreciate the life of action as a means of our sadhana and in gaining knowledge. So the connection is like this. Knowledge will empower us to act wisely. And actions will purify our intellect to withhold the knowledge. So this is the connection. When we act in a way prescribed by the scriptures and told by the gurus, then we are purifying our intellect so that we become purified. We have our pure instruments purified. Our internal instruments are then purified to gain and withhold the knowledge. Otherwise, that knowledge will be like it will be like a water on a lotus leaf. It will fall away. But instead, if your instrument is purified, then it will be like a very clean pot. It can hold that water in it. So this is a connection here. So now this is what the Lord is going to explain to us. So he says, loke asmin dvivida nishta pura prokta mayanaga. So he calls Arjuna as a sinless one, the one who is free from sins, meaning the potential is there for Arjuna to have that knowledge, that wisdom. And in this world, meaning in that from the time, from that from long time, from wherever, whatever time we know, from the context when the world has been there, from that point, there has always been two paths for all seekers of reality, for all those who want moksha. There have always been these two paths. What are these two paths? Jnana yogena sankyanam. So those who are Sankhyans, meaning those who are capable, intellectually pure, and have an inclination towards that, they are qualified for Jnana Yoga. And then there are those who are Yogina, meaning like the seekers, those who are Jignasus, who are on the path. Most of us are like, are both in that sense, but yet we cannot, Lord is saying that person who is that yogi, that person who is a practitioner, who is a seeker, karma yoga, he has to follow. So these two paths has been there from the from the long time. These two paths have always been there. So it's also like that, when many of us think, yeah, I'm qualified for Jnana Yoga, I'm qualified for meditation, I'm qualified for, I don't have to do Karma Yoga. So this is all most of us, when we were all young seekers and all that, we would go to ashrams. We would think like, okay, we go to ashram, we'll just sit and meditate and get knowledge and scriptures, and then we don't have to do anything. But then there's ashrams, they will tell us, you do seva, you do this, you do that. And we'll say, no, why should I do seva? Why should I do action? Because I came for jnana, I came for meditation, I came for realization. So then we go somewhere else and we stay by ourselves. We realize then, oh, there are a lot of thoughts coming. There's a lot of mental, there are desires there is mala, there is vikshepa, meaning there is impurity in the mind. So I still have some thoughts that I haven't purified. I still get restlessness, I still feel lazy. So all that start coming in our mind. Then we realize, oh yeah, I need to do some seva, some degree of seva is necessary. So that is the prescribed method for everybody. So in our life also, if we are not able to do seva, if you're not able to, then that our work itself, whatever work we are doing, that itself we should do, as the Lord says, with that notion of seva. Ideally, both, especially if we can do, that is better seva, because it helps purify. But if that is not possible at all, at least we should work with that attitude that these are my duties, I will do without seeking result, without expecting any kind of a result. So this is a method that is given. So why? Because when we learn to act without seeking results, then we attain that nishkama bhava, that sense of selflessness starts coming into us, and that is the result of purification. See, the general normal person will not have motivation to act without any result. So when we are asking, if somebody asks you to do some seva, our normal question is, what will I get out of it? So this is a normal question, right? So when we are asking that question, that is a sign of not having a purified intellect. Without results, I don't have motivation to act. That is, of course, seva also there is a result. What is the result? Is that purified intellect, that Chitta Shuddhi is itself a motivation. For a sadhaka, getting Chitta Shuddhi is a motivation. So here from this context, as somebody was saying, Karma Yoga is this arpana. You're offering everything to that. And when you slowly start coming to that point of complete offering, even your ego, complete ego has been given up, samarpana, then you are moving to that point of nivritti. You are able to abide in that knowledge. Okay, so this establishes the context. Now I will just say this and then we will end it here. From the context of Shankaracharya's teachings, which established the whole thing, there is a lot of discussion on this. Even the first beginnings of his commentary, he has started this in the second chapter, 11th shloka. He had started this. There is what is called as the Jnana Karma Samuchaya, the mixing up of knowledge and action. So from that teachings of Shankaracharya is a complete no-no. Samuchaya, mixing is a complete not possible according to him. But when he says that mixing, you cannot mix karma and jnana, he is talking from the context of karma kanda and jnana kanda. Probably many of you may not really be that much deeply interested, but it's just some good things to know, because if some later stage you get interested in going deep into commentaries and all that. So that point you'll appreciate this. That jnana karma samuchaya, meaning the one who is doing karma kanda, meaning one who is seeking through rituals, actions, worships a supreme truth. And that person also believes he wants some jnana yoga. That kind of a dualistic path is not possible, according to Shankaracharya, meaning you have to be a seeker of wisdom, that supreme moksha you realize is that not gained through action. Nasti akrita kritena. That shloka I said, you have examined the world and you know that through none of the actions can I get that supreme knowledge. So then why am I doing karma yoga? The karma yoga here is a progression to that wisdom. So if we are completely sure, not ourselves, if our teachers have told us that you are qualified for giving up all actions, then we can give it up, but not before that. So this is a stepping stone. So karma yoga, we can combine in this context. We can do our action and we can come and study Bhagavad Gita or any Upanishads. There's no problem. Because we know very well that actions we are doing in the world, whether our family actions, seva, or whatever actions, these are for gaining the purity of intellect. And this purity of intellect gained through will help us in sadhana chatushtaya, that fourfold qualification for knowledge. And when we have that fourfold qualification of knowledge, we become qualified to gain and abide in that supreme wisdom that the Lord is going to give us. Okay, so this again will come again and again, because this question, even though in this chapter the Lord is going to explain, again Arjuna will have this doubt. So he will rephrase this question in different ways. So again and again it will come. But this point is a very important thing to understand. All right, so we will leave it at this. Anybody has any comment, questions, you may please ask. Okay, so now in this chapter, as I mentioned, is called as karma yoga. Yeah, Rui asked. Yeah.
Swamiji, just to take out this doubt completely, again about nivritti marga and pravritti marga.
Yeah.
This has to do with the ashrams of life. These two paths are connected mostly to the ashrams of life. How can we define them? These are not paths of yoga. These are of seeking, of seekers.
So,
is that it?
Yeah. So it is mostly talked about in the context of ashrams of life. We can say that, like especially as I mentioned, mostly sannyasis and those who are in the vanaprastha. They are the ones who are generally considered as qualified for nivritti marga. Yet nivritti word is used in many contexts. It is not just used in the ashram context. Uh, from the teachings point, we talk about pravritti marga has a path of engagement, right engagement. And I think, as you or somebody said, generally karma yoga is taken as a pravritti marga. But it doesn't mean that person who is doing karma yoga should not undertake any jnana yoga. He is qualified. So within ourselves, in our daily schedule, if you say, there are opportunities for pravritti, there are opportunities for nivritti. So when you sit now in this class, you are actually doing nivritti. How? Because at this point, I'm hoping that you have switched off or turned off your phones. You're not talking, doing something else. So then, what happens is that you are engaged exclusively of all worldly actions. Generally, pravritti means worldly actions. You're not engaged in any worldly actions. You are focusing on the listening, that teaching. And similarly, if you were to sit for meditation, as somebody who said, that is also a pravritti. So, nivritti. So, all this which is disassociating from worldly life, that is nivritti. So, in our life, in our schedule, also there is nivritti. And pravritti, these are there. But when we talk mostly from the context of ashram and lifestyle, then it becomes ashramas. Some people are engaged. So this is why, for example, sannyasis are generally not encouraged to kind of be fully engaged in worldly activities. But we also say that sometimes we say these are pravritti sannyasis, we say, like in our India, especially, we have sannyasis who are also like acting in governments and all that, or doing a lot of they run schools, like especially some ashrams, like Ramakrishna. They are very active in society. So we sometimes say these are pravritti sannyasis, meaning they are sannyasis, but they have taken more pravritti approach. So from the word itself, pravritti nivritti, it means withdrawal and engagement, if you put it. From an ashram lifestyle context, it is ashramas. Okay. There is, now that you brought this point, I will mention one more thing. So sometimes we say that for somebody who is not completely detached from the world, that person is qualified for karma yoga. Sometimes we say that. Some persons who are more completely detached from the world, more detached, they are qualified for jnana yoga. We generally say this. Why this is said is because that intellect, if it is too caught up in worldly thoughts, worldly desires, then it is not able to focus on the teachings, because these teachings are not going to give you immediate worldly results. Of course, it will give us peace, clarity, and a direction in life and all that, but it will not give immediate results. So then it is said that that person is not qualified for jnana yoga. We tell them, you do asanas, and sometimes from that jnana yoga context, we also encourage those people to do bhakti, pray to the Lord, seek the path of bhakti yoga. So, of course, the people who are in bhakti yoga will not say this, but from the complete context, bhakti yoga is prescribed because the person is not able to detach completely. So he still have desires for the world. So what do we say? We say take refuge in the Lord, because the Lord is still like somebody who's in the world in that sense, manifesting in the world, but yet out of the world. So you take in somebody like that, that will help you to purify. So we will come in that start chapters from 6 to 12 will focus on mostly bhakti yoga approach. From a broad context, that is karma yoga. Bhakti yoga is also like a karma yoga, it is action from the broad context. But in a more exclusive context, we divide bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga, and all that we will divide. Okay, we'll leave it at this. Say closing prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Narayana. Namaste.